All right, welcome bowling fans. Today's match will be between Fremont Ross and Napoleon, coming to you live from Napoleon at the River City Bowlaway Lanes. Fremont Ross is up first and gets a strike on lane 2. So due to an illness, the girls team will not be competing for Fremont Ross today. So the girls will be scrimmaging amongst themselves. So we'll keep the focus primarily on the boys' match. We may pop over just to check on the girls every once in a while, but Fremont Ross's second bowler up on lane number 2 now. And a strike for him as well. Andrew Gallagher will start things off for the Wildcats on lane number 1. And he crushes all 10 pins. Strike for Andrew. Slade McCorkle with 9, leaving a 3-pin on lane number 3. Brennan Babcock up now on lane number 1. And he starts out with a strike. Nice ball from Brennan. And Fremont Ross leaves the 4-pin on lane number 2. Slade up now for his spare attempt on lane 3. And he picks it up. Fremont Ross up on lane number 1 now. Gets all 10 pins to fall for a strike. He'll double up. And Fremont Ross leaving the 2-8-10 on lane 4, pickup of 7. Hunter Ehlers leaving a 10-pin on lane number 3, gets 9 on his first ball. Fremont Ross with another strike over on lane number 1. Andrew now, lane number 2, his second frame. And he'll leave the 10-pin standing. Hunter picks up his spare. Fremont Ross not able to convert on lane 4, ends up with 7 total for the frame. Riley Ehlers up now for Napoleon on lane 3. And a strike for Riley. Andrew now, spare attempt. And he misses that 10-pin inside. Strike for Fremont Ross on lane number 4. Slade McCorkle up now, lane number 4. And all 10 go down for him. Strike. Splits the 1-3 pocket. Brennan with 6, leaving the 1, 2, 8, and 10 on lane number 2. Hunter now, lane number 4. And he comes in a little light, misses the head pin, leaves the 1, 2, 8. Andrew Gallagher with 9 down on lane 1, leaves a 4-pin. If I can get somebody in the chat just to give me a shout out, let me know you guys can hear me. I'd appreciate it. And Fremont Ross goes high, leaves the 3, 6, 10. Must have been his second ball. Nice pickup there from Hunter, picking up the 1, 2, 8 on lane 4. Andrew now, spare attempt on lane 1. And he picks it up. All right, thanks, Rob, for letting me know. And Fremont Ross with another strike on lane number 2. That's 3 in a row now for that bowler. Riley coming in a little bit light and pays the price, leaves the 2, 8, 10 on lane 4. Brennan now, lane 1. And he leaves a solid 9-pin, picks up 9. 8 count for Fremont Ross on lane 2, leaves the 3-9. Riley able to pick up 2 out of the 3 on lane 4 for a 9 count in the second frame for him. Another strike for Fremont Ross on lane number 3, I believe that was. So he'll double up. Fremont Ross picks up 1 out of 2 on lane 2, finishes with 9 for the frame. Fremont Ross splitting, leaving the 2, 4, 8, and 10 on lane number 4. Difficult pickup there for him. Nice ball from Fremont Ross down on lane 1 for a strike. And another nice ball for Fremont Ross, a strike on lane 2. So Fremont Ross's first bowler, 4 strikes through 4 frames. Slade McCorkle now in lane 3 for Napoleon. Picks up 8. Pin drops right between the 2 and 5, but won't hit either one of them. Andrew with a nice ball for a strike on lane 2. And another strike for Fremont Ross down on lane number 1. Solid 10 left on lane 4 for Fremont Ross. Slade now, spare attempt. Picks up the 2-5. Another strike for Fremont Ross on lane 1. It's a double for him. Brennan now up on lane number 2. And Brennan drops all 10. Hunter Ehlers goes a little bit high, ends up leaving the 6-9. Pickup of 8. Andrew back on lane number 1. Gets ready for his 5th frame. And he gets all 10 to drop. Pin came out of the gutter, took out the 6-10. So Andrew doubles up. Fremont Ross goes high, leaves a 6-10 on lane 2. Hunter now, spare attempt, picks it up. Brennan now, lane number 1. And he ends up splitting, leaving the 4-9. It's one of those leaves that I do not like. Fremont Ross with an open frame on lane 2 just a moment ago. And Riley drops all 10 for a strike on lane number 3, I believe it was. Brennan now gets ready for his spare attempt and picks up 1 out of the 2. So a 9 count for him. Brennan's struggling a little bit. He's got 3 open frames in the first 4 and 1 strike. Slade now, spare attempt. Misses inside on lane number 4. Another strike for Fremont Ross on lane 1. Hunter up now, lane 4, goes high and splits. Ends up leaving the 3, 5, 6, and 7. Fremont Ross picks up their spare on lane number 3. Hunter now, lane 4. Can't quite get the 2-pin to kick over and take out the 4-7. He picks up 2 out of the 4. So that's an 8 count for him in frame number 4 of this first game. And Fremont Ross topples all 10 on lane 2 for a strike. Andrew up now, lane number 2. He's got 2 strikes working for him, 1 in the 4th and 5th frames. And he gets 9, leaves just the 7-pin. Fremont Ross with another missed spare down on lane 1. But Fremont Ross picks up the spare on lane 3. Riley up now, lane number 4 for Napoleon. And that one went a little bit high, ends up leaving the 4-pin standing, pickup of 9. Andrew now, spare attempt at the 7-pin, and he misses that one inside. Fremont Ross picks up 1 out of 2. He was left with, looks like the 410 or the 410 or the 210 over on lane 1. And Riley picks up his spare on lane 4. Brendan goes the Brooklyn side, picks up 9, leaves the 3-pin. Andrew now, lane 1, and he gets all 10. There's a strike for Andrew in the 7th frame. Brennan now, spare attempt on lane 2, picks it up. Slade McCorkle now, lane 3 for Napoleon. And that one goes high, leaves the 3-pin standing. Missed spare opportunity for Fremont Ross on lane number 4. Brennan now down on lane 1. Comes in a little bit light, ends up leaving the 210. Pickup of 8. Slade picks up his spare on lane 3. Fremont Ross, spare attempt on lane 2, and he won't get any more. And a strike for Fremont Ross on lane number 4. That's their 5th bowler with the strike. Not sure if that was an attempt to clear a pin in the gutter or if that was actually his first shot for Fremont Ross on lane 2. Looks like it's scored as an attempt. And I don't see anybody going to correct the score, so. Slade, that one drifts a little high, but he gets some help, and a strike for him on lane number 4. And a spare the hard way for Fremont Ross on lane number 2. Hunter now, lane number 4. Nice shot from Hunter, all 10 back. Riley now, lane number 3, trying to close out the 5th frame, and he does so with a strike. And he'll just turn around and go right over to lane number 4 for his 6th frame. Nice pickup there from Fremont Ross on lane number 2. Picking up, I look like the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10 maybe? Fremont Ross left with an 8-10 split over on lane number 1. Andrew up now on lane 2. And cannot get the 10-pin to fall. Looks like a good ball from here. Riley now tattoos that one, all 10 back. So Riley doubles up. And a strike for Fremont Ross down on lane number 1. Andrew now, spare attempt, lane 2. Got it. Looks like they're putting in Christian for Brennan over on lanes 1 and 2 as the second bowler. Christian goes left side of the head pin, picks up 9, leaves a 5 pin. Andrew now, lane number 1. And he got it. Got a pin to roll into the 10 pin to take it out. Christian now, spare attempt, lane number 2. Got it. So I'm looking up the scoreboard here. Napoleon bowlers 3, 4, and 5, all with strikes in the 6th frame. Andrew with a strike. He is sitting on frame number 9. So he just completed 9. Christian up on lane number 1. And he gets the 10 pin to wiggle, but it won't go down. So 9 count on his first ball. He'll get a spare attempt. Fremont Ross picking up the spare on lane number 3. And a 7 count for Fremont Ross on lane 2, leaving the 1-2-8. Christian's spare attempt on lane 1, picks it up. Nice shot. Slade now on lane 3. Comes in just a little bit light, leaves the 2-4-5. Pickup of 7. Spare attempt misses for Fremont Ross on lane 2, so he'll end up with 7 for the frame. 9 count from Fremont Ross on lane 4, leaving a 7 pin. Spare attempt picks up 1 for Slade, so a total of 8 for the frame. Fremont Ross getting started on the 10th frame, down on lane 1, picks up 9, leaves the 10 pin. A strike from Fremont Ross to close out the 9th frame in this first game. And Fremont Ross missed the spare attempt on lane 4. Picks up the spare on lane 1, though. Fremont Ross did. Hunter up now. And leaves the 4 pin. Nice looking shot there. Andrew, lane 2. And he starts his 10th frame out with a strike. And Hunter picks up the spare there in lane number 3. And the last ball for Fremont Ross in the 10th frame is a strike. So their first bowler finishes with a game of 175. And Andrew gets 9 on lane number 2 for his second ball, leaving a 10 pin. Riley up now, closing out the 7th frame. Does so with a strike. That's 3 in a row now for Riley. Andrew now, last ball, 10th frame. Misses inside. Was close enough to wiggle it, but not enough to knock it over. And Andrew finishes with a first game of 193. Fremont Ross with a strike on lane 3. Another strike, a second strike in the 10th for Fremont Ross on lane 1. And Christian splits, leaving the 6, 7, 10 to start his 10th frame on lane 2. tough split, but it can be converted. Fremont Ross with 8 pins to start the 8th frame on lane 3. Looks like the 2-5 left. And Christian won't get any more. Finishes with 134, him and Brendan combined. And Fremont Ross won't get any on their last ball. Finishes with a game of 161. That was Fremont Ross bowler number 2. And Hunter was left with a mess and picked up a few more pins for a total of 6 in the 8th frame over on lane number 4. Riley up now. And he gets a 9 count, leaves a solid 10. Jacob in for Slade on lane number 3. Starts out with 4, I'm sorry. Missed the head pin to the left. Fremont Ross, their 3rd bowler, starts the 10th frame with 2 strikes. Had strikes in the 8th and 9th frame as well. Riley now, spare attempt, picks it up. And Jacob picks up a few more, so a total of 8 pins for him. So he'll end up with 8 in the 8th. Currently sitting at 129. A 7 count for Fremont Ross, their 3rd bowler, to finish with a game of 222 over on lane number 1. Hunter with pickup of 9, leaving the 7 pin standing on lane 3. Fremont Ross with a nice ball there for a strike. So that's a double for him in the 8th and 9th frames. And Fremont Ross with 9. Start the 9th frame on lane 4. Hunter picks up the spare. That's in the 8th frame for him. Or no, 9th frame, I'm sorry. And Fremont Ross picks up their spare. Riley up now, lane number 3. And all 10 for a strike. Jacob up on the line, ready for the 10th frame. That one goes a little high, but gets a little extra pin carry. Leaves just the 10 pin, pickup of 9. Nice ball there for a strike from Fremont Ross to start the 10th frame. Jacob now, spare attempt, picks it up, nice shot. And a big split for Fremont Ross on lane 3, leaving the 7-10. Jacob up now, last ball, 10th frame. picks up another 7, finishes with a game of 146. And Fremont Ross won't pick up any, and he'll finish the game. That's their 4th bowler with a 134. Hunter misses the head pin, gets a little extra pin count. Kind of a domino effect from the backside, ends up leaving just the 110. Fremont Ross with a split, leaving the 3, 6, 7, and 9. Hunter picks up 1 more, so he'll finish with 155. And Fremont Ross picks up 1 more to finish with a 175. Riley starts things out with an 8 count, leaving the 2-8. Riley now, spare attempt, picks it up. He'll get 1 more. If Riley strikes out here, he can finish with a 207. But it looks like Fremont has a slight edge. A lot of open frames for Napoleon. Need to clean those up in the second game. Riley drops all 10, so a 207. So I've got Napoleon at 835 for game 1 and Fremont Ross at 867. So we're down 32 pins moving into the second individual game. All right, got the scores up for you. Looks like the coach is having a chat with the boys, and I'm sure he's telling them, you know, we've got to make our spares. We had a few splits in there, but there were plenty of missed spare opportunities. All right, looking at some of the girls' scores, see a 158, 138, 143, 194, 175, 131, 226, 189, and 224. Remember, they're just kind of scrimmaging against themselves. Andrew starts out the first frame with 8 count, leaving the 2-5. Hunter on lane number 3. Drops all 10 back for a strike. Nice ball from Hunter. Andrews, spare attempt now. And he chops. So he'll end up with 9 for the first frame. Fremont Ross picks up 9 on their second ball, so a 9 total for the frame. Looks like Fox Taylor is in at the number 2 spot, or on lane number, bowling with Andrew on lanes 1 and 2. And Fox picks up his spare on lane number 2. Hunter with 8 on his first ball. Picks up the spare. An open frame from Fremont Ross down on lane number 1. Another missed spare opportunity on lane number 3 from Fremont Ross. Looks like we've got Brennan on lanes 3 and 4 now. And he starts things out with a strike. And a strike from Fremont Ross on lane number 3. Spare pickup from Fremont Ross on lane 2. And another spare pickup from Fremont Ross on lane 1. And Riley with a nice ball there, drops all 10. Andrew coming up on lane 1 now. Andrew leaving a 10 pin. Looked like Hunter came in a little light, ends up leaving the 2, 5, and 7 maybe? Strike for Fremont Ross on lane number 2 just a moment ago. Andrew now, spare attempt. Got it. Fox up now on lane number 1. And it looks like he might have gone a little high on that one. Splits, leaves the 4, 6, 7. Hunter picks up the spare on lane number 3. Nicely done. Nine count for Fremont Ross on lane number 4. So a 9 total for the frame. Brennan up, lane 3. Nice ball from Brennan, splitting the 1-3. Fox picks up 1 out of the 3, so a total of 8 for him in the second frame. All right, we're going to switch over to the girls just for a round here. A spare attempt from Lily Light on lane 6, picks up all but 1. Avery up on lane number 8, and she'll pick up 6. Sophia picks up 9, leaves the 4 pin on lane 5. Macy with a nice conversion on lane number 7. Looks like the 310 there. Ariana coming in light to the pocket. Pickup of 8, leaves the 2-5. Sophia now, spare attempt on lane 5. Picks it up. Nice pickup there by Avery as well on lane number 8. We'll get back to the boys' action here in just a minute, I promise. Keegan with a nice ball. Manages to sweep that 7 out of there for a strike. And Ariana chops, leaving the 5-pin standing. That was on lane number 6. Brenna with 7 count over on lane 8. Looks like she missed the head pin, leaves the 1, 3, and 6. Alexa with a strike just a moment ago on lane number 5. Carly up now, lane 7. And she gets 9, leaves the 10 pin. Brenna picks up her spare on lane 8. Lily now, lane 5. That one's way left. And a 7-10 for Kendall, sorry, on lane number 6. Lily now, lane number 5. Nice ball, picks up the spare. Avery also picking up the spare. Or no, I'm sorry, Avery with a strike there. Kendall picks up 1 out of the 2 on lane number 6. Brenna now, lane 7. Comes in a little light, gets a little extra help though, a strike for her. And Macy picking up another 4 for a total of 8. Sophia Coors, Brooklyn strike for the lefty. Hits the 1-3 pocket, drives all 10 back. Kendall now, lane number 5. And she comes in light, ends up leaving the 1-3. Keegan gets 8, leaves the 2-7. Nice ball from Macy there for the strike. Alexa leaving the 1-2-4-10 washout on lane 6. All right, we'll switch back to the boys' action. Brennan up on lane 3, left with this 3-6-10, picks it up. He's in the 4th frame. Andrew now, lane number 2. He drops all 10 for a strike. Fox up, spare attempt. Missed down on lane 1. Looks like maybe a 6-pin left. Riley with a strike on lane 3 just a moment ago and doubles up. Strikes in the 3rd and 4th frames. And Hunter with a strike on lane number 4. Nice ball from him. Slade back in the lineup on lane 2. That one looked like it went high and leaves the 6-pin standing. Fremont Ross picks up their spare over on lane number 1. Brennan now, lane 4. Missed the head pin, leaves the 1-2-4, a pickup of 7. Slade now, spare attempt, lane 2. And that one's way inside. Fremont Ross picks up 1 out of the 3, so a total of 8 for him in the 5th frame. That was their 4th bowler. Brennan now, spare attempt. Picks it up. Nice ball from Fremont Ross, a strike on lane 2. 9 count leaves a 10 pin on lane number 1 for Fremont Ross. Another 9 count, leaving a 5 pin on lane 3 for Fremont Ross. Riley up now for Napoleon, lane 4. And another strike for Riley, extends the streak to 3. 3 in a row. Fremont Ross, another strike over on lane 2. Spare pickup for Fremont Ross on lane 3. Andrew coming up on lane 1 now. And Andrew drops all 10 for a strike. He doubles up. Strikes in the 5th and 6th frames. 9 count for Fremont Ross, leaving a 10 pin on lane 2. Hunter now, lane 3. Maybe a little bit high, leaves a 6-10, pickup of 8. And a good ball from Slade, but ends up splitting, leaving the 8-10. Hunter now, spare attempt on lane 3. Picks it up. Slade trying to get at least one of these. And cut the 8 pin just a little thin. So he'll end up with 8 for the 6th frame. Fremont Ross missed their spare attempt on lane 4. Andrew up now, lane 2. And he gets 9, leaves a 7 pin. Brennan misses the head pin, leaves the 1-2-4. Pickup of 7. Strike for Fremont Ross on lane 1. That's a double for him. 8 count on lane 4 for Fremont Ross, leaving the 4-7. Andrew picked up his spare on lane number 2. Brennan now, spare attempt, picks it up. Fremont Ross, spare attempt, lane 4, picks it up. Slade now, lane 2 for Napoleon. And he gets 9, leaves the 10 pin. And Hunter gets them all to drop. Coaxes the 3, I'm sorry, that was Riley. Coaxes the 3-10 down at the last minute. Now it's Hunter. On lane 4, solid ball there for a strike from Hunter. Riley might want to think about making just a slight adjustment on that lane, unless depending on how he threw it. Brennan now comes in light to the pocket, missed the head pin, pickup of 5, leaving the 1-2-4, 8, and 10. Fremont Ross with a nice pickup there on lane 3. Andrew with a strike down on lane number 1 in the 8th frame. Brennan picks up a few more. He'll end up with 8 for the frame. That's frame number 7. Sitting with 134 in the 7th. Fremont Ross picks up 7 on lane 2, leaving the 3-6-10. Christian with a strike down on lane number 1. So it looks like Christian in for Slade. That one goes a little bit high for Riley. Ends up leaving the 9-pin. Thought the messenger might take it out, but it slid right in front of it. And the 10-pin drops for Fremont Ross for a strike down on lane number 1. Riley now, spare attempt, lane 4, picks it up. 7 count for Fremont Ross on lane 2. Hunter up now, lane 3 for Napoleon. Working on a strike in the 7th frame. And he doubles up. 7-pin tried to stand up, but another pin had different ideas and took it out. Brennan now, lane 3. And a powerful ball from him. Knocks all 10 back. Andrew now, lane 2. And Andrew ends up splitting, leaving the 4, 6, 7, and 9. Missed spare opportunity from Fremont Ross over on lane number 1. And Fremont Ross picks up 2 out of 3 on lane number 4. Riley now, lane 3. Good looking ball, can't get the 10-pin to go down. And Andrew with a good attempt there, picks up 2 out of the 4. So an 8 count for him in the 9th frame. Riley now, spare attempt, picks up the 10-pin. Christian picks up 8, leaves the 3, 6 on lane 2. All right, so Hunter getting ready to start his 10th frame. He's got, or I'm sorry, 9th frame for Hunter. And he gets all of them to go down. First the 7th went down slowly, and then the 10 went down. So Christian picked up the spare a moment ago on lane 2. Now it looks like Jacob in for Andrew on lane 1, and he starts out with a strike to start the 10th frame. Brennan now, lane 4. Goes high, leaves 3, 6, 10. Fremont Ross with 8 to start the 10th frame, left the 4, 7. Jacob picks up 8, leaves the 5, 10 on his second ball in the 10th frame. Got Randy running down there to clear out a pin from the gutter. Nice pickup there from Brennan. Picking up the 3, 6, 10 on lane 4 for the 9th frame. Fremont Ross picks up their spare. They'll get 1 more in the 10th. Jacob, last ball, 10th frame. Picks up 1 more. Finishes with a 167. Hunter getting ready to start his 10th frame. He's got 3 strikes now, 7th, 8th, and 9th working. Christian on lane number 1. Picks up 9, leaves a 6-pin. Last ball from Fremont Ross's first bowler. And it looks like he picked up 9 more for a 180 game. That was 180 for Fremont Ross. Hunter picking up 6 on his first ball in the 10th. Leaves the bucket, the 2, 4, 5, and 8. Christian makes the spare over on lane number 1. He'll get 1 more in the 10th. 7 count from Fremont Ross, leaving the 3-6-10 on lane 2. Hunter now, spare attempt on lane 3, picks it up. And Christian, final ball is a strike on lane number 1, finishes with a 127. Hunter now, last ball. And a strike for him. So Hunter finishes with a game of 201. Fremont Ross's second bowler, looks like they finished with 136, it looks like. Brennan gets 8 on his first ball in the 10th. And Fremont Ross picks up the spare on lane number 2. He'll get 1 final ball for the 10th frame. And another spare for Fremont Ross in the 10th on lane 4. And Brennan picks up the spare, so he'll get 1 more. 9 count from Fremont Ross. He finishes with a game of 134. That's their third bowler. Brennan now, last ball, 10th frame, and drops all 10. So Brennan will finish with a 192 game. Fremont Ross's fourth bowler finished with a 104, and their fifth bowler with a 169. Riley with a nice ball, but leaves it solid 10 pin. So looking at the initial scores, it looks like Napoleon will take the lead back after the second individual game. The question is by how much. Riley now, spare attempt, got it. He'll get 1 more. If he can strike out here, he'll finish with a 216 game. Riley, last ball, 10th frame, and he drops all 10. So 216 for Riley, nice game. So 903 for Napoleon and 723 for Fremont Ross. That puts Napoleon in the lead by 148 pins moving into the Baker matches. Again, these are unofficial scores. We'll confirm them with the coaches after the match. All right, so the scores are up to date on your screen now. All right, as they set the lanes up for the Baker matches, remember we had 2 individual games where all 5 bowlers bowl individually. Oh, no, they're setting up on lanes 3 and 4. And now the Baker matches, it's still a 5-man team, but they will take turns bowling 1 frame at a time. So one bowler will bowl frames 1 and 6, the second one 2 and 7, 3 and 8, 4 and 9, and 5 and 10 for the anchor bowler. Scored just like a regular game, but there'll be 3 of these. And then the total pins from the individual and the Baker matches will be added up, and most pins win. All right, looking over the scores for the girls, I see a 160, 158, 137, 126, 207, 135, 166, 146, 202, and 177. All right, Jacob up first, and he starts out with 9. Jacob Dennett is one of our freshmen, leaving the 3-pin standing. Fremont Ross up next. And he ends up splitting, leaves the 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10. Jacob with a nice pickup there. Spare for the Napoleon Wildcats in the first frame of this Baker match. And a nice pickup from Fremont Ross, cleaning that up. Christian up next. Christian Horner comes in a little light. Ends up leaving the 2-7, pickup of 8. Fremont Ross now, second frame, and he missed the head pin, leaves a washout, the 1, 2, 4, and 10. Christian now, spare attempt. Nice pickup from Christian. Sorry, the 2-7. Did I say the 2-10? I meant 2-7. And if I said the 2-7, I still meant the 2-7. Hunter up now. Nice ball from Hunter. Splits the 1-3 pocket. All 10 pins just fall back. And an open from Fremont Ross, so 6 count in the second frame. Brennan now up for the Wildcats. And all 10 drop. Messengers flying everywhere. Fremont Ross goes high and ends up with 4. Again, leaving the 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10. Nice ball there from Riley. I don't know how that 8-pin was standing, but eventually the pin came over there and knocked it down. It slid one way and then looked like it slid back the other way before it finally toppled. And they pick up, looks like 3 more, so a total of 7 for Fremont Ross in the third frame. And Fremont Ross with 9, leaving a 5-pin on lane 4. Jacob up now, frame number 6. And a nice ball from him for a strike. Fremont Ross picks up their spare. Christian now, lane 3. Gets 9, leaves the 6-pin stand. And a late pinfall for Fremont Ross for the strike. Christian picks up the spare. Spare pickup there for Christian. Fremont Ross now, lane 4. Nice ball from him for a strike. Fremont Ross with 2 strikes in a row now. Hunter Ehlers, and he drops all 10. Nice ball. Fremont Ross. That one goes high, leaves the 6-10. Brennan ends up picking up 6, leaves the 2, 4, 5, and 8. Spare attempt from Fremont Ross, and he chops, picks up just the 6-pin. So a 9 count in the 7th, and they are at 105 in the 7th. Brennan now, spare attempt on lane 3. Nice pickup of the bucket. So spare in the 9th frame for Napoleon. Brooklyn strike for Fremont Ross on lane number 4. Riley, something didn't feel right, so he takes a step back. And that one comes in light for Fremont Ross, leaves the 2, 4, 5 on lane number 4. Riley drops all 10 to start the 10th frame. Spare attempt, Fremont Ross picks up 2 out of the 3. So another open frame in the 9th. They're sitting at 133. Riley now, second ball, drops all 10 again. 2 strikes in the 10th for him. So ideally, when you're bowling, you want your ball to hit somewhere between the 1 and 3 1-3 pins. It's called the pocket, but not all places are equal. You can hit between the 1-3 and you're not guaranteed to get a strike. A lot of it depends on angle into the pocket, the speed, deflection. 9 count for Riley, leaving the 10. And Napoleon finishes the first Baker game with a nice score of 236. Ideally, you want that that ball to enter, hit the 1 and the 3, drive back or roll straight back, take out the 5 pin, and then roll right between the 8 and the 9. You get the ball to do that, the chances are pretty good that you're going to get a strike. So when you're bowling, watch where that ball leaves the pin deck. It should be leaving right between the 8 and the 9 on a well-executed shot. Spare for Fremont Ross, and they end up with a 153. So Napoleon extends its lead to 231 pins unofficially. So they'll switch lanes. Napoleon will come over and bowl on lane 4. Fremont Ross will go over and bowl on lane 3. Again, that's going back to talking about the strikes. That's not the only way you can get a strike, but it is the highest percentage way of getting a strike. All right, Jacob up. Baker game number 2 now. And he goes high, ends up leaving the 6 pin. So 9 count to start. And Fremont Ross with 9, leaving a 4 pin over on lane number 3. Jacob now, spare attempt, and he gets that one too far to the right, so an open frame for Napoleon. Fremont Ross completes their spare. And a strike from Fox Taylor on lane number 4 for Napoleon. I'm sorry, that was Christian. I'm sorry. That was Christian Horner on lane number 4 for Napoleon. And a strike for Fremont Ross in the second frame. And a strike. That was Fox Taylor in the number 3 spot. So back-to-back strikes for the Wildcats. Fremont Ross drops all 10. That's back-to-back strikes for them in the second and third frames. And Brennan drops all 10. That's a strike for him. And Fremont Ross with a big split, the 4, 6, 7, 10 on lane 3. Riley, Brooklyn, strike. I can hear the cries of wrong side, strong side from here. Jacob up now for frame number 6. And all 10 to go down. Strike for him. Fremont Ross got 2 out of the 4 on their previous frame, and a strike there for Fremont Ross on lane number 3 to start the 5th frame, or in the 5th frame, I should say. Christian up now, lane 4. And he gets a strike. That looked like it was Brooklyn as well. And another nice ball from Fremont Ross, strike in the 6th frame for them. Fremont Ross with the 3rd strike. So strikes for Fremont Ross in the 5th, 6th, and 7th frames. Fox Taylor now. And another strike for the Wildcats. And a Brooklyn strike for Fremont Ross on lane number 3. Brennan up next, lane 4, and he drops all of them. Napoleon and Fremont Ross going strike for strike. See who blinks first here. And Fremont Ross comes in light, ends up leaving the 2, 4, and 10 on lane number 3. Riley now starting the 10th frame. And he comes in light and leaves the 2, 4, 8, and 10, but he slid the 4-pin at least a good 2 inches, maybe further. This will be a tough conversion to make for the Wildcats. And Fremont Ross with 5 to start the 10th frame. Riley now looking to get at least 3 here. Oh, he almost did it. He ended up picking up the 2 back ones, slid him over into the 10-pin, and a pin came off the wall and almost took out the 2-pin. So a 9 count for Riley to finish the 10th and a game of 243. Nice Baker game, boys. And 4 more pins for Fremont Ross and a 9 count in the 10th, and they finish with 196. So I've got Napoleon up by 278 pins, 22-17 to 1939 total. All right, so the Wildcats are going to stay where they're at on lane number 4. And Fremont Ross wiggles the 10 pin, but can't get it to fall. So a 9 count for them to start things out. 9 count also for Jacob. Leaves the 4 pin standing. I'm not sure if that pin came out of the gutter or not. Looks like it might have. They're doing a scoring change. Jacob picks up his spare. Fremont Ross picks up, looks like 3. Christian up now for Napoleon. Nice roll on that ball, but missed the pocket just a little bit. Leaves the 2-8, came in just a touch light. And Fremont Ross will pick up another 4. That's a total of 7 in the second frame. Christian now, spare attempt, and he chops, picks up the front one, can't convert the back one. And a strike for Fremont Ross over on lane 3. Looks like Christian might have had a little bit too much side spin on that one, and it kicked the pin up and away as opposed to forward roll, which would have driven the pin back into it. Fox Taylor with a strike on lane number 4. Fremont Ross missed the head pin to the right, ends up leaving the 1-2-4, pick up a 7. Andrew Gallagher in, and he goes a little high, ends up picking up 8, leaves the 3-6. And Fremont Ross gets 2 of the 3, so a 9 count for them in the 4th. They're sitting at 44 pins in the 4th. Andrew now, spare attempt. Got it. Fremont Ross picks up 9, leaves the 10 pin standing. Brennan Babcock now, lane 4. Nice ball from Brennan, all 10 back. And again, that one looked like it might have come out of the gutter first for Fremont Ross. And again, it looks like there'll be a scoring correction. Jacob up now on lane number 4. That one comes in a little bit light, and he's left with a mess. He's got the 2, 7, 8, and 10 left. 9 count for Fremont Ross on lane number 3. Leaves a 6 pin. Somehow he's got to get this 2 pin to go off of the 8 pin and slide straight right to take out the 10 pin. Fremont Ross picked up their spare in the 6th frame. And Jacob won't get any. That ball came out of the gutter. So a 6 count for Napoleon in frame number 6. So they're sitting at 89. Fremont Ross picks up 6 off their spare for the 7th frame. Christian with a nice ball there, strike for him. This is the 3rd and final Baker game. Fox up now, and he gets all 10 to fall. It looked like that 8-pin was trying to stand up on him too, but it finally teetered off the back of the deck there. Another open frame for Fremont Ross in the 7th. They get 9. And 9 count, leaving the 2-pin behind for Fremont Ross. Andrew Gallagher, lane 4. Leaves a solid 10. Spare attempt from Fremont Ross, picks it up. That's the 8th frame for them. Napoleon getting ready to complete the 9th frame. And it drops off to the right. So an open frame in the 9th for Napoleon. And a strike for Fremont Ross in the 9th. And Brennan splits in the 10th, leaves the 3-4. Yeah, 3-4. And no more for Brennan, and they'll finish with a 154. And Fremont Ross missed their spare attempt and will finish with a 118. So Napoleon will improve to 3-1 in the NLL. I'm sorry, 4-1 in the NLL. They're currently 3-1. I have a final score of 2371 to 2057, a victory of 314 pins. We'll double check this with the coaches here momentarily. So our next match will be Springfield, and it's away on the 25th. I hope to be with you guys. I apologize we weren't able to broadcast the previous match. Unfortunately, I had a work commitment that came up at the last minute. All right, as always, I want to thank you guys for joining us today on the live stream, or those who find this stream after the fact. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. The more subscribers that we get, if we can get the number of subscribers up, we can do some different cool things. right, looks like scores are coming this way. All right, so let's see, 2057, 2371,
Wildcat bowlers and
835,
parents
903 for the Wildcats, 867, 723.
It's
And then
the in the
Baker
lounge
Games,
for
156,
breakdown.
193, or 153, 196, 118 for Fremont Ross, 236, 243, and 154 for the Wildcats. So, yep, everything matches up. We'll get this posted in the stream real quick. All right. So once again, thank everybody for joining us. If you know anybody that's not currently watching the stream, please let them know that it exists. And as always, go Wildcats.